In the broadest terms, what sustainability means to me is policies that don't just have a short-term benefit or impact, but are thought out over the long term so that they have long-term benefits as well, so that they are, in the word, sustainable. And that applies not just to the environmental realm, but also to things like how we're managing our resource revenues. And that's where I get into creating sovereign wealth funds, because that's more sustainable. Yes, that is a key question, isn't it? Who will the benefits accrue to? To society, I'm thinking about. It's not particularly to corporations or to individual governments, it's to society as a whole. We're not necessarily looked at as a country that's doing all the right things with their resources. Canada, like Australia, has a reputation of being rip and ship countries, get it out of the ground, get it to market, and sell it as fast as possible without thinking through things like adding more value to it. We do things too often in an ad hoc manner, and we continue to operate in that way because it's worked for us so far. Stop being so ad hoc. We really need to take a lesson from a country like Norway that looked at their oil and gas resources that were coming on stream and said, hey, we need a plan. We need to sit down and think about both how we're going to extract the oil, how we're going to get the maximum benefit out of it for society and in the long term. And we do have actually models here at home as well at the provincial level, and I'm thinking of Plan Nord in Quebec, because they looked at it and thought, okay, we want to develop the northern part of the province, which is a huge area, and we want to make sure that we do it in a sustainable manner. And they actually sat down and tried to work out how you would connect not just the extractive industry policies, but also ones on infrastructure, on education, on Aboriginal relations. That's a second thread that runs through the report, that we need to collaborate more. And when I say collaborate, I mean bridging those silos between the different industries, between the different policies, and try to come up with something that's a bit more comprehensive. We're not very good here at collaborating, getting businesses to collaborate on research. There, I would say Australia is far ahead of us in terms of getting companies together to research a common problem or common challenge. And here the discussion tends to stop right at the beginning. People say, what about the intellectual property? Isn't that going to be a major problem? Well, it hasn't been a major problem in Australia. They sort it out right away. Who's going to own the intellectual property, and then they go forward. We have a number of smaller collaborative projects in Canada. COSIA in the oil sands is one where the group of oil sands producers are actually collaborating on solving some of their environmental issues. In the forest industry, we have FP Innovations, where they're also getting together and collaborating on research. But we don't, these are more anomalies than they are par for the course, and we need to do a better job of that. I think one thing that business schools can do is just to encourage the students to have as broad a possible outlook on these things, so that, because we live in an era of specialization right now, and people get to know really a lot about what their particular interest is, and they might not know anything about what's going down along the hallway in another company, in another area of government. So the idea of sort of keeping their horizons broad, at least at some level, even as they're developing a specialty, would help with this.